Hey guys, so I want to share this experience with you right now. Part of my testimony that I don't know that I've shared on here before, but I'm going to share it now. So I have been dealing with a whole lot of battles lately, and it's really because I'm about to go in a season of promise. And if Satan can't stop you where you're at, he's going to try to discourage you, right? Because he doesn't want you to enter into your season. So anyway, I've been dealing with a lot of triggers lately, and it's really been intentional because God is not permitting me to go into the promise with things that will trigger me. He's like, you are going to overcome these. So I wanted to share this experience I just had with you. I'm in my kitchen and I'm cooking supper for the kids, and I have the goodness of God playing, and I am just worshiping. And God begins to run back through me the reminders of every time he's been with me and I didn't know. And so part of my testimony that I haven't shared on here is that anxiety and fear started at a young age for me. I lived in a home that was not a Christian home, and there was a lot of abuse, not necessarily on me because my father favored me quite a bit, and so I didn't receive the abuse, honestly, but my brothers and sisters, they have stories of abuse, and my mom, certainly my mom. And so that being said, one day at 5 years old, I am the second youngest of six. My oldest brother is 10 years older than me. My father sends me in to get him a soda out of the fridge. And I remember him telling me, and we had this thing, he would send me to get the soda and I'd pop it open and I'd take a drink and I'd be like, I was just testing it for you, Dad. And he'd be like, okay, is it poison? And I'm like, no, Dad, it's not poisonous, you're good. And long story short, so I go through our dining room and I get to our kitchen. I see my oldest brother at the sink and he's doing dishes. And he's at that sink, and I turn the corner, go into the kitchen, to the farthest corner of the kitchen, to the fridge. I pull a Pepsi out of the fridge and I turn around and shut the door. And as I turn around and shut the door, I have two butcher knives to my chest. My brother is there, and he told me, if you open your mouth, I'm going to kill you. And he pins me to the fridge. He's 10 years older than me. And I remember being terrified. I thought I was going to die that day. And I don't know how long it was, but I remember it seeming like forever. And I hear my father calling me, and he's getting mad. I hear it in his voice. He's getting upset. And I'm not saying anything because the eyes staring back at me were terrifying. And so I hear a voice to my right side, which the wall was right beside my fridge. And it says, look over. And I look to the left of me, and my mom's head at that precise moment came into the kitchen and went out of the kitchen. Not her whole body, just her head. And I just looked back at my brother, and it seemed like a second, and I hear my father's voice, and he was calling my brother. And in that moment, I see my brother's eyes switch from hatred of me to terror of my father, and he drops the knives. I don't remember leaving the kitchen that day, but I wanted to share this with you. 20 years later, I give my life to Jesus. And I began to pray, God, I want to know your voice. And the first time I heard his voice as a grown adult, I dropped to my knees and I began to cry. Because in that moment, that was the same voice at 5 years old that had told me to look over. And I thought that was amazing. And I wanted to share that with you because my mother passed away a few years ago. But right before she passed away, maybe a couple weeks, I was talking to her and I said, Mom, I remember at 5 years old, maybe 6, that my brother, and I said his name, had two butcher knives on me, Mom, and I remember your head coming into that kitchen. And she said, Angelina, your dad asked me to go find you because he kept calling you. And I knew when I got to the kitchen something was wrong. And so I only wanted to put my head in because I knew that if he had you, he would kill you. And so I was like, wow, it's amazing. So I want to say to somebody, you're going through a season. You are going through a season right now where you see so far from God. you don't know how you're coming out of this season and you're not hearing his voice. And I want to tell you, he's right there, because it doesn't matter where you are. He's always with you. And it doesn't matter who you are. He's always with you. Because it is his good pleasure to make sure that every single person come to the knowledge of Christ. And I want to encourage you, especially if you are a Christian and you feel you are so far from him. He is right there. Do not give up. We do not quit. Satan would love for you to be discouraged, and I'm telling you, don't be discouraged. Your Father, the one who created you, who knew you in your mother's womb, knew everything you were going to walk through, and he decided that you were worth it, that he would pay the price for Calvary for you and only you. Don't give up. You keep pushing, and I'm super excited for what God's going to do for you, because he sent me to my car to give you this message. So be encouraged, guys. Keep pushing forward.